Okay, our final segment with David Icke, Wayne Paul, CPA, to talk about taxes, and brother of Ron Paul, be with us the next hour. But we'll take your calls on the attack in Austin, the media saying kamikaze terror attack by a anti-income tax, anti-government person. You knew it was coming. I called it December 8th. And every week since then, I've said they're going to attack Austin, and they're going to blame it on patriots. And I've gone further now in the last 3 weeks saying they're going to try to kill Obama or stage an event to blame it on us. And now Beck says it's the birthers. They're violent, too. They're bad, too. So now most of the Tea Party people, I mean, they are going to set you up, set us up. I want to go back to David Icke. But I also have done 2.5 hours of radio here and TV without plugging one book or video. That's how we fund ourselves. We're not funded by George Soros and the New World Order. We're not funded by anything but you, the listeners, purchasing books, videos, prisonplanet.tv memberships. So you can watch the show live on TV, high quality, the best downloads of my films. You'll be able to see Jason Bermas's Invisible Empire coming out in a month and a half. First, prisonplanet.tv, Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA, that I've quietly been working on for a year without even talking about it. I don't know. That'll be at prisonplanet.tv. Get a 15-cent a day, $5.95 a month membership. Pre-order Jesse Ventura's American Conspiracies for $19.95, already $5 off. Get one of my films free of your choice. That's on the shopping cart right now. Get a free film. It's only like 10 or 15 days or less till we start shipping these now. The Drug War 2, How Weed Won the West, Exposing Government Drug Dealing and Narcotics. That's now shipping. Available at Infowars.com. Purchase the books, the videos. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, like David was saying, to educate people. Infowars.com or 888-253-3139. Also support other great activists and researchers and people breaking the spell, getting folks outside the box, like David Icke at davidicke.com, all his great books, videos, materials as well. Okay, David, I've been cutting in a lot because of developing news. When you leave us in about 14 minutes or less, I will come back and recap all the latest developments on the kamikaze attack in Austin, Texas, the suicide letter. This looks completely staged once you leave us. But in the last 14 minutes we have with you, you have the floor. I'm sitting back. In fact, I'm even going to go listen to you in the control room to control myself and not butt in. You have the absolute floor, David Icke.
Well, one of the things that I was going to talk about tonight, and maybe I want to talk about it at another time, really connects into what's been happening today and 9/11 and all the rest of it. Because one of the things that I've been trying to get across to people for years is don't judge what these people will do on the basis of what you will do. Because we fall into the trap, it's easy to do, that when we look through our eyes at the world, we think that everyone else is seeing the world the way we do. It's not like that. And this network of bloodlines, these Illuminati bloodlines, if we could see through their eyes and through their minds, then we would be utterly shocked at how they see the world. They have no empathy, they have no conscience, and they get a kick out of human suffering. The more, the merrier. And over the last 20 years, I've discovered many things, but one thing is very relevant to what I'm talking about now, and that is in every single country, words I've used on my website, the cement that holds the establishment together, the law enforcement, political, business, banking establishment together, is pedophilia and Satanism, and those two networks are utterly, utterly connected. And all over the world, these rings operate, and they abuse children in the most staggering way, torture them, rape them repeatedly, force them to take part in human sacrifice ceremonies. Now, when you start to appreciate that this is actually going on, and these people have the mentality to do that to children, then 3,000 people killed on 9/11, or 1 million people killed and maimed as a result of the fraudulent invasion of Iraq, Afghanistan, etc., takes on new understanding. I'm exposing a story at the moment, which is the microcosm of the macrocosm, which is of a young Down syndrome girl in Scotland. She's not in Scotland now, she's in England. She's had to flee because of the threats and the treatment that she's had when she tried to expose this with her mother. But Holly Gregg exposed the fact that she was repeatedly raped over 14 years by some of the big law enforcement, sheriffs, senior policemen, social workers, a solicitor, accountant, a fire officer, lawyer, vicars and priests, and all the rest of it, over 14 years. And the police, in a place called Aberdeen, in the east of Scotland, in an area called the Grampian region, which is infamous for Satanism and paedophilia, I can tell you. Scotland is. Scotland's a major world centre for all of this stuff. It's not called the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry for nothing, the biggest secret society in the world. And this girl, Holly Gregg, when she started to bring this out, the Grampian police refused to investigate it. The procurator fiscal, the person that decides if a prosecution is going ahead, a lady called Elish Angelioni, refused to take it forward. She's now since become the Lord Advocate of Scotland, the top legal person in Scotland. She has refused at that level to let the case go forward to court and be investigated. And now we have had, over the last few days, a journalist called Robert Green, who's been helping the family and exposing it and getting the evidence together, who went up to Aberdeen late last week, and he was going to stand for Parliament on this single issue of what has happened to Holly Gregg and the way the establishment in Scotland has raped and treated her. And incidentally, this Scottish paedophile satanic establishment was served by a man called Thomas Hamilton, who was the guy who killed 16 children when he took 4 guns into Dunblane Primary School many years ago and blew them away. He was a Freemasonic paedophile and procurer of children for this Scottish elite. Famous people you see on the news all the time and running courts and what have you. And he was arrested when he went there last week just to talk about this case and the evidence he had. He was held over the weekend, put in court on Monday, bailed on a charge of breach of the peace, which in Scotland is much wider. And basically, if anyone's going to be upset, then you're in a breach of the peace. Talk about political correctness as personified in a law. And he's been bailed to appear again later and gagged from speaking about this case. His video on YouTube is being taken down, all different aspects of it, very, very, very quickly. And if people go into my website, they can read the whole story. And what I'm saying is that this paedophile satanic network is operating in Scotland, and it goes out right into the Scottish government, right into the Westminster government, right into the British government. And because these different rings, these national paedophile satanic rings, connect into other rings, exactly the same thing is happening in America, in North America, in Canada, in the United States. Everywhere you go, you see the same pattern. Australia is a major, major center of paedophilia and Satanism. And you always find that the key people in the establishment, whenever you investigate them, Alex, you go down the road of one thing leads to another. It always leads to paedophilia and Satanism. And I'm sure Father George Bush will confirm that.
So, and again, we have the mainstream news articles out of Scotland that anyone that tries to even go speak in public is being arrested. They're saying disturbing the peace. I mean, is there no free speech in the UK?
Well, there's this law firm called Levy and McRae in Edinburgh, who's representing this Lord Advocate of Scotland, Elish Angelioni. And why is a law firm representing her? She's the top legal person in Scotland, for goodness sake. Make a statement, woman. We have a situation where there's a classic murder involved in this, Alex. Indeed, what we're talking about today in terms of cover-ups and everything. Holly Gregg's uncle, her mother's brother, he died in an alleged car fire in 1997. And the authorities, these same Grampian authorities that we're looking at, they said, he died of smoke inhalation because he died in a car fire and probably suicide. They've now got hold of the post-mortem report and found that he was bashed severely around the skull before he died. He'd got 2 broken ribs, a broken breastbone. He had whiskey forced down his throat, and he hated whiskey. He wouldn't drink it. And there were signs in the postmortem. The postmortem said of a pickaxe shaft being used, and the authorities in the Grampian said, oh, it was smoke inhalation. We now know that's a lie. And Holly Gregg told her mother that her uncle, this guy who was clearly murdered and covered up, had actually walked in and found Holly's father having sex with her and went crazy. And shortly after, this guy ends up in a car fire. And that wasn't investigated by the police in Grampian or the law enforcement people in Grampian, a number of which have been named by Holly Gregg as her abusers. So this is an extreme
But David,
story,
I don't understand.
But it's happening everywhere, Alex. This is going on all over the world every day.